So let's start by settling the body, adopting a stable, comfortable, upright position serviceable for meditation. So think about keeping our feet flat and our back straight, torso open, hands in the lap right over left with the palms upturned and the thumbs gently touching. Our eyes are gently closed or slightly open, making sure we let in enough light to remain alert. We try to avoid slouching or leaning. And we also let go of any unnecessary tension or rigidity in the body, relaxing into a stable, comfortable, upright position. And begin to pull back your awareness, letting go of attending to the environment, constraining your awareness just to the body and mind. Concentrating that awareness in the present by attending closely to the physical sensation of the air moving into and back out of the tip of the nostrils. Noticing quickly when anything other than that one physical sensation is arising in the mind, and without judgment or frustration, lifting your awareness up from those distractions and placing it gently but firmly again and again on the breath. And then generate a broad and altruistic motivation for your time, intentionally widening your circle of concern, trying to embrace all sentient beings equally in your regard, recognizing that the best way to be able to benefit these sentient beings is to establish and deepen constructive, beneficial ways of thinking and acting, mental states that, when they arise, will naturally give rise to actions that are beneficial for others, and to separate oneself from tendencies and habits, ways of thinking that are not constructive, that when they arise often give rise to actions that cause harm to others. Using this as a vehicle for being of greater and greater benefit to sentient beings. And then with that motivation, we recognize that presently that broad mind is not what we have at the moment. Right now, we deal with partiality in the mind, which is an obstacle to having that perfectly equal regard. So we try to confront that mind of partiality by reflecting on the ways in which we categorize and value people in different ways. So we imagine that there are three people seated in front of us. To the right is someone that we know and that we care for. In front is also someone that we know, but someone who agitates our mind. someone that we prefer not being around. And to the left is a person whose image we can bring to mind that maybe we saw yesterday, this week, but only briefly and with no depth. They didn't do anything pleasant or unpleasant. We would say that they were a stranger to us. Once we generate an awareness that these three people are in front, we turn our attention to our friend on the right. And we ask ourselves, why is it that we feel warmly toward this person? There's a sense of comfort, a willingness to engage in some hardship in order to work for their benefit. So we ask ourselves, is that mainly because they have a tendency, a history of saying kind things, things with which we agree? Do they generally show empathy and interest? Do their values generally accord with our own? Can we count on them to say and do things that we enjoy? And then question whether those are truly valid reasons for holding someone dear. For allowing someone into the category of those that are dear to us. And then turn your attention to the person that agitates the mind in front, and check again if the ego is involved in your sense of distance, the aversion that arises in the mind. Have they said or done things that we personally, individually found harmful or unacceptable? And is that truly a valid basis for giving rise to disdain, perhaps speaking or relating to them unkindly? And then turn toward the stranger. Notice that in the mind a sort of indifference arises, a blankness in the mind. Is that principally because this is a person who's neither benefited nor harmed, simply only oneself? And is that a valid, reasonable basis for putting them into the background of our lives? Not truly being interested, not being willing to endure hardship for their benefit. And recognize too that these ways of relating seem to have a sense of permanence when they arise. We find it hard to think of the friend, the enemy, and the stranger as anything but truly, independently friend, enemy, and stranger. But we can see in our own direct experience that these categories are very fluid. Friends easily become strangers. They even can become enemies. With any time, any interaction, strangers will necessarily become friend or enemy. And with changes in behavior, actions, those that we find difficult do sometimes become friends. And then again, that we can drift apart and they can also become strangers. So, contemplating in this way, recognize how surface level and capricious these categories are, and yet how impactful they are, how limiting and constraining they are. The deeper level is that every sentient being wishes to be completely free of suffering and wishes to experience only happiness, just like oneself. Relating to and working for the benefit of sentient beings solely on that level is the valid, unchanging way of relating to sentient beings. So reflect on these insights and try to give rise to that understanding and concentrate your mind on being determined to relate on that deeper level. And then when you're ready, we'll come back together. And we'll dedicate. So recollect your altruistic motivation. Think that by having engaged in this contemplation, you've actualized that motivation, created positive energy in the mind, which you freely offer for the benefit of all sentient beings without exception. Thinking may it serve as a cause and condition to eliminate war and conflict, poverty, famines, disease, disasters, all painful inner and outer conditions. May it ripen the minds of all sentient beings. May they quickly meet perfect teachers and arise in a state of full enlightenment. May I too achieve this state of enlightenment in order to work for the benefit of sentient beings perfectly. May any obstacles facing the Guru's long life be completely dispelled, and may I and all sentient beings in this moment come under the joyful care and guidance of enlightened beings. May we be guided and protected until we swiftly achieve that state of enlightenment. Thank you